What are you up to today?
Not much, man. Just chilling.
Nice, nice.
Um, yeah, it's been surprising. It's been no bullshit. Almost don't know what to do with myself.
Too calm in the waters or what?
Yeah, sounds about to happen. You know, what I mean? It's just too damn
Yeah.
quiet, man. I'm just like anticipating some bullshit, but maybe not.
No.
Maybe not.
Maybe things could just be going well. You know,
Maybe
doesn't always have to be the peak.
maybe I don't know. It's just it feels kind of pre 2019 right now, which is kind of scary.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that's a weird thought.
yeah.
It's a whole different time frame. Like I don't even think about like nowadays. Jacob doesn't think about the world back then,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't think of the world in the same way. You know what I mean? Like just the way we operate every day. People aren't the
Yeah.
same. Fucking people don't people don't talk anymore. People don't hang out anymore. Not in the same way. They still
No, they
do,
don't.
just not in the same way.
Yeah. I mean,
The world changed for real.
yeah. I mean, it did. I mean, but are people getting back to normal? What is normal? I mean,
No, that's why I always pretty much accepted the term new normal because we never really went back to what we were used to.
yeah. I mean, I
The
don't think we
freedoms
could
aren't the
go
same anymore.
the
Every
freedom.
significant event in my life has led to feel like less freedoms as a citizen. Whether it was like 9/11 is a good example. Um, I had been on planes prior to that, and then I went on planes after that. Just the airport's a whole different atmosphere. Everything's a little more high stress. Yeah, I don't know. Like just, the world changes after significant events, and I don't know if it's adaptation or just going with the flow of things.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that as well, and I can't make out whether um it's something that's like I don't know. Let me put it in this way because as I said, I was thinking about it. So, like what happens when you own a business most of the time is like you're indoctrinated with all these policies. Like, so you start with these stupid rules. Like, so when I first started working, like people used to
Are you talking like
re-
local municipality rules, like what you have to deal with on a city level, or you know?
just not just a bit. Let's say if you're just gonna start a business, like you're a plumber or some shit like that, like
Yeah. No,
like a
I own two
self-employed.
companies. That's why I was asking. I own two companies.
Yeah, and it's the same with me. I remember, right? So, like, I remember like the times when like we didn't have to there was like there wasn't a smoking ban, for example.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember when that happened.
um, and then overnight it was like click, you can't smoke in the workplace anymore. Like,
That was a really weird thing too. I mean, when did you guys go through that in
um,
in the UK?
wait, what are we talking about here? I think it was in
The cigarette
early
ban.
night, yeah, early 90s, like 91. I don't know,
Okay.
man. 92
Yeah,
maybe.
I think ours was like late '90s. I remember
Right.
because I used to go into restaurants and they had a smoking section, and I just thought it was
Mm.
so weird. You could still smell it, and same with the smoking on planes. Like in the U.S., they smoked on planes for a long time.
Yeah, that's what I
Like
mean. It was
there's
like
a there's a bit
literally
on
overnight.
who's the guy? Dice Clay does a bit. He goes, "The smoking section. It's so funny. We're in a fucking tube." Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
and we used
like
to
everybody's
like
breathing the
see
same
people
air.
like smoking in movies, and it's just like all of a sudden it became sort of like a bad thing. It's like, oh, and I'm not saying, yeah, people die from cancer, but like,
I
for
I'm always been
example,
one of those things. If people choose to do it and they voluntarily do it, then I don't think it's the government's job to protect you from yourself. Um,
I believe that as well.
I don't think
mean,
you can trap people in an unfair situation. Like you can't make people eat and drink or whatever with people that smoke. Like there has to be alternative options. But yeah, for the people that want to smoke in bars and shit, like that's something that we had. I don't know if it was just our state. In Illinois, they had an exemption for private clubs and bars for a while. So the country club that I worked at when I was 16, they were still allowed to smoke cigars at the bar, and just because it was a private club. And
they still do that shit. This is the funny thing. This is what I mean. You go to any like private club, like an exclusive club, they ain't restricting you because you're paying like a certain amount to actually fucking be part of fucking membership. They're not gonna tell you to stop smoking. But like,
but the public, they'll get you. You know, like I think we have like a 25-foot rule. You can't have a cigarette within 25 feet of a doorway, or you can get fined for it, I believe.
Yeah, they do that shit now. Like, they just implemented this law over here, like, which is like, you know, they're banning smoking year on year to a point where they're gonna outlaw smoking. Period. Like for the next generation, which is crazy. So what? They're like, what's gonna happen is like what? Are people gonna travel to other countries to smoke or some shit, or is it gonna become sort of like some bootleg?
So I think there's always gonna be exemptions. Like they'll always have cigar lounges and stuff like that, but it'll have to be like at a tobacco place. You know, it's not gonna be, or it's gonna have to be private and not public. Like a good example is they still have hookah lounges. You can go to a hookah lounge and they still have the same fans that Mud Rabbit's talking about, those huge smoke eaters that they put in the ceiling and almost drains the room. Like you can see it visually, like suck all the smoke out of the room. It probably doesn't help 100%, but yeah, I get it. I mean, there's always going to be exemptions. Like I think hookah's the big one right now. Yeah, that I could like. I'll still go to a hookah bar every once in a while. I prefer a hookah bar.
Look at that shit I shared with you, right?
Let's see what you got.
This is literally happening. Like Prime Minister to create smoke-free generation by ending cigarette sales to those born on or after the 1st of January 2009. Like literally ending cigarette sales. Period.
Yeah. And I remember when they came out with the crazy labels and warnings on the ones in the UK. They're a lot more strict over there with the ones that they have on their boxes compared to out here.
Do they do that over there? Like, have they like taken?
No, we don't have like the pictures and stuff that you guys have. Like mine has a warning: this product can be addictive. But that's about it.
I think it's real stupid. I mean, the fact is no one's going to really pay attention to that anyway. So I don't know who they're trying to convince.
Well, who's smoking tobacco that doesn't know that it's probably not good for you? Any kind of, you know what I mean? People are choosing to do it, but
it's ridiculous.
I don't think the government's job to protect you against yourself. That's my libertarian idea. I don't think the government should protect you against anything.
They say all this shit.
Besides foreign entities and actual dangers of other people. Like, as long as you're not infringing on the rights of others, I'm cool with you doing whatever you want, especially in your own home.
I mean, that's crazy the way they're like babysitting us, man. That's just wild. Like, and then at the same time during their political campaign, they're like, "Oh, we don't want to babysit you. We want to give you your rights." It's like, what the fuck? Like, that's ridiculous. This is some shit that went down in like the 1800s when they tried to fucking outlaw alcohol.
Like, well, that's the craziest.
What the hell happened, man? You're creating a fucking gangster fucking movie again.
That's the craziest thing is I don't think Native Americans and people like that were actually dying from tobacco use on the same level.
Yeah, but if someone wants to fucking like kill themselves on tobacco, let them. Like, what the fuck?
But no, like regardless, the reason that tobacco has gotten so bad, I think, is because we started making it in factories that were governed by the United States, and they're putting chemicals and all this other bullshit into it. It's not just natural tobacco anymore. It's gotten so far away from that to
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's been
whatever it
diluted.
is now.
The product's been diluted, but I mean, there must be something
I don't think
else
it's
going on.
diluted. I think they're putting other shit in it. Like those truth campaigns aren't actually like a lie. They put a lot of crazy shit in regular tobacco, and at the same time, it's being like the research on it is being funded by the Philip Morris, which is the same people that are making the product. So of course they're going to come out and say it's good. Like they're not gonna. They got people addicted to it, and then people realized that what they were giving people were bad for them. I don't know. I try to
Of
stay
course,
away
it was
from. I
bad. I
try to
mean,
stay away from cigarettes,
sugar's bad. Do you get what I'm saying? But it's just, it's just like at the end of the day,
but I don't.
salt's bad.
That's
You know what I
exactly
mean?
why I don't eat. I don't
Anything,
eat bread and I don't eat sugar. Like I
anything.
really am picky about that kind of stuff.
Look,
But that
people are
should be your
dying,
choice. If you want to die of
dying on
sugar,
Coca-Cola out here. You get what I'm saying? It's just
well,
like it's overconsumption's overconsumption.
let's make the same argument. What about with sugar as an example? Do you think it's the rest of society's job to pay for the fact that somebody's overweight or bigger? Like a good example is higher plane tickets when you want to fly because they got to put in bigger seats because big people don't fit in the seats anymore.
Yeah,
Is that
I
now
saw
your
that.
is that now your job to pay more for the tickets?
No,
Why not?
because you know it's a standard, right? So it's like if you understand the standard and like you're going, okay, I want to, I'm unique, like apart from like the other 200 people on the damn plane. It's like you need to pay a bit extra, man. Jesus Christ, that's being extraordinary. That there's extraordinary circumstances, fine. Like, but if you choose to put on that damn weight and take up the seats of two people where most, like the majority, you're talking about 99% of the damn flight carriage don't do that, then it's not like for us to pay for that shit. Like you gotta deal with that shit, not
Yeah,
us. That's just fair. I mean, we're not talking 50-50 here. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like
yeah,
I could choose to put on weight if I want to. You
yeah.
get what I'm
But
saying?
you gotta, but you should have to deal with the consequences of that,
Exactly.
not
I'm
public.
not I'm
And
not
and
saying
I
don't
feel
put
the
on
same way
weight.
about I feel the same way about tobacco or any
Yeah,
other
it's the
drug
same
use
thing.
or anything like that. Alcohol. Yeah,
I think it's bullshit policing people like in terms of like okay cool is like is a capitalistic society, pay for that shit. Do you get what I'm saying? If you're look, if you can overindulge to a point that you need two seats, I'm sure that you won't have a fucking problem being able to pay for the extra one because it's the same thing. Like, if I'm earning more per capita than the average guy, then I'm gonna want more. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'll pay for that. I'm not expecting like the
if you're eating
taxpayer to
more
fucking
than the
pay for
average
that shit.
if you're eating
Yeah,
more
but
than the
what
average guy,
it
do
doesn't
you
need
think
to
you
be
got the
more.
fun? No,
It
I'm
don't
saying, do you? Does it mean
no,
that
but
you have the funds to? Like, what if you're spending
well,
more money on food and
if
stuff like
if I
that?
choose to go to a Michelin star restaurant, do you get what I'm saying? That's my damn choice. Like, no, like I could go to McDonald's. You get what I mean? It don't matter how much I'm earning. It's a choice. So if you're choosing to do that shit, then that's on you, man. You gotta like pay for it because that's just
Fair
the
enough.
world we live in. As I said, I don't have anything against big people, but I'm just saying, like, you gotta watch what you're doing. You can't just blame the rest of the world and go, "Oh, they owe me something."
Yeah,
You know what you're doing. We're all born the damn same. Do you get what I'm saying? There's only a certain amount of pounds you can weigh when you're birthed. Do you get what I'm saying? So when people start being extravagant and shit like that, that's on them.
What do you what do you think of like depression? So what do you think about say you choose to do one of these habits or one of these bad activities and it puts you into maybe a spiral of depression or you feel bad about yourself. Um, what do you feel about the government like putting you on one of their drugs and trying to use, mood stabilizers to get everybody right and happy all the time?
It really depends on what kind of level of depression you're talking about. I mean, depression is kind of like a subtle thing. There's depression and there's outright instability. There's a difference. like I was depressed for a good damn time when I got attacked, and the government didn't do shit because it's like at the end of the day they don't recognize that sort of stuff. Like
They
depression
don't
is
like
one of
recognize like PTSD or anything like that.
now PTSD is different. That it's not categorized as depression. That's a different thing because it's linked to something.
I would say it's
No, it is
like
in terms
post
of like a
traumatic
humanist. All right,
distress.
we gotta
Uh,
understand what we're talking about. So it's like when you're talking about PTSD, that's linked to a specific industry. Depression
no, no.
is a
PTSD.
general thing.
Well, PTSD does not have to be attached to the military or anything like that. It could just be
Yeah,
any
but it is.
traumatic. It could be any traumatic event. It could be
It can be, but look,
you
listen,
could be R
Jacob.
worded, and that could
Jacob,
lead
listen
you
to me.
to PTSD. No, I'm just saying it's not
The
categorized like
only
that worldwide.
Yeah, look, the only reason why things are highlighted, especially in the media, is because it's linked to something. So if you have like, people coming back from the war and like a majority of them say, look, I've got PTSD or some shit like that, it's linked to that. It's not to say that the average civil person or civil servant can't have PTSD. That's not what I'm saying. It's just it is linked to a bigger thing. Depression is not linked to anything. Like depression, anyone could just say, I've got depression.
Depression, when diagnosed, they might not know the source of it, but it does usually have a
It's not
source.
linked to anything, no. There's nothing that's happened historically that
No, I'm
goes,
saying I think
okay,
depression is a category. So
it is a
being upset,
category, yeah.
yeah, and it's a vague category because I think there's anxiety that falls in with depression. I think PTSD falls in with depression. I think
You
yeah,
see, this is the
and
look.
because it does. This is why it doesn't have to be military. Like in the United States, a police officer could suffer from PTSD because they had to fire their weapon on duty.
I'm
A
speaking to you from
civilian
a right.
could suffer from PTSD because they had to
I,
fire their
I,
weapon on
I,
somebody and take
I
their life.
understand what you're saying, but the thing is like, look, I'm speaking to you
I'm
from
just
a
saying you don't
clinical.
have to be in wartime before
No, you
that to
don't.
happen.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying
Okay.
is things are linked to things. Like over here, I think you have Medicare. We have the NHS, National Health Service. The
Yeah.
National Health Service, right? Same with Medicare, is a pro bono sort of situation. It's not that it's totally free, but it's free at point of use, depending on what happens to you.
Yeah, and
Now
the condition. And
they have their own playbook. So it's like, if I go to the doctor and I'm like, doctor, I'm ill, the doctor's going to prescribe me something in that playbook. They're not going to go outside of that playbook because that's the only way they can prescribe something to you that's free at point of use. You may need to pay above or over the average for that type of medication or whatever they prescribe to you if it's private. That's a different
so
thing.
let me let you know why I'm kind of putting those in the same box. If you look at the medications prescribed for both of those conditions, they're very similar. They're both mood stabilizers, and they're both meant to calm you and pull you out of your depression. They use a variety of mood stabilizers, and usually it's a trial and error process to see which ones work best for your body. But this is where a lot of people will kind of butt heads with me, but not everybody does. Um, I think depression is necessary. I think you wouldn't know good news without bad news. You wouldn't know a good day without a bad day. Like it's just part of life. And if you just go through life high on lithium because the doctor prescribed it to you and you never want to be sad, I don't think that's actually beneficial for people. I think it makes them softer in the long run because they're never being challenged on a mental level. I think it's good to go to dark places sometimes. I think it builds character. Um,
Why would you say people butt heads with you on that?
because not everybody thinks that. Some people are very, very happy being on their antipsychotics, which of course they would. I get it. Like it's probably nice to never have a worry or to be more careless. But I at the same time, I don't suffer from anxiety or depression in that way where I can relate to it. So unless it was something I was dealing with,
Have you ever
Technically, I can't put
experienced
myself in
depression?
their shoes.